Let's get ready to global!
It's the Global History Show with Mr. Benjamin. This episode, Islam and Sharia Code.
Yippee! So excited!
It's Global History Show.
And now the learning targets for this episode.
I can trace events in the life of Muhammad and the founding of Islam. I can describe the 5 pillars of Islam. I can explain several other Muslim beliefs. I can describe how Sharia code affects the life of people in Muslim countries.
Islam is a diverse religion, and it would be more accurate for me to refer to Islam as Islams. What I will be presenting is not Islam in its entirety, just some generalizations with emphasis on conservative Sunni Islam. Muhammad and the birth of Islam. Islam arose in 622 CE in Arabia, founded by Muhammad. Muhammad was born in the city of Mecca in the Arabian Peninsula. Mecca was located at a crossroads of caravan trade routes. Mecca was also a pilgrimage center. Many Arabs came to pray at the Kaaba, an ancient temple that housed many statues of pagan gods and goddesses. These religious tourists added to the merchants' wealth in Mecca. Muhammad's father died 6 months before his birth, and his mother died when he was 6. He lived with his grandfather and then with his uncle. As an adult, Muhammad was asked to mediate conflicts between clans. Muhammad led caravans across the desert and became a successful merchant. Muhammad married Khadijah, a wealthy widow who ran a prosperous caravan business. It was Khadijah who proposed to Muhammad. They had 4 daughters and 2 sons. The 2 sons did not survive to adulthood. Muhammad often went to a cave in the hills near Mecca, Mount Arafat, to meditate. One day, during the month of Ramadan, on one of these trips to Mount Arafat, the angel Gabriel came to Muhammad and commanded him 3 times to read. Muhammad ran home and told his wife, who convinced him that he had received a message from God to be a prophet. The angel Gabriel would return several times throughout Muhammad's life. Muhammad passed the word of God on as told to him by the angel Gabriel. For many years, the message of God was passed to others orally, recited. The Quran is the holy text of Islam and was written sometime later. Muhammad began to preach and convert people to Islam. Muhammad said that Islam is the continuation of the faith of Judaism and Christianity, that it is God's final teaching. Central to Muhammad's preaching was that there is one God, Allah in Arabic, and Muhammad is his prophet. As more people converted to Islam, the tribal leaders became angry. They worried that if people stopped being polytheistic and became monotheistic, believing in one God, they would stop coming to Mecca to visit the Kaaba, the shrine where the statues to the pagan gods and goddesses were kept. This would ruin merchants' businesses in Mecca. The tribal leaders tried to convince Muhammad to stop preaching monotheism, but Muhammad refused. Muhammad and his followers were harassed, some tortured and killed. Muhammad left Mecca and moved to the city of Yathrib, later called Medina. This was a turning point for Islam and is called the Hijra. The Hijra is the date used by Muslims as the starting point of the religion and year 0 on the Muslim calendar. In Medina, increasingly more people converted to Islam. This continued to anger the Meccan merchants. Mecca attacked Medina. Muhammad raised an army of the faithful and defended against Meccan attack. 3 battles were fought, including a peace treaty between both sides that was broken by Mecca. Muhammad led his army to conquer Mecca. Muhammad was now a prophet, a general, and a political leader of an empire. Muhammad cleared the idols out of the Kaaba and declared it the most holy site for Islam. What's the opposite of defeat? The hands. Muhammad went on to conquer surrounding lands within the Arabian Peninsula. When Muhammad died in 632 CE, there was need for a political and religious successor to lead the Islamic empire and the Islamic faith. There was a string of leaders called a caliph, successors to Muhammad. A controversy arose right away. Some Muslims supported Abu Bakr, Muhammad's close friend and father-in-law. Others wanted a blood relation of Muhammad, his cousin Ali, to succeed as caliph. Abu Bakr won the power struggle and became the first caliph. This caused a split in Islam. Those supporting Abu Bakr became known as Sunni Muslims and are the majority group today. Those who supported Ali became Shiite Muslims. Ali did become a caliph later. He was the fourth caliph during the time of the four rightly guided caliphs. These divisions continue today and are a source of political opposition and war. Some examples of Sunni and Shiite opposition include war between Iraq and Iran in the 1980s, and a proxy conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran, including the civil war that began in 2014 in Yemen, with both countries supporting opposing sides in the civil war. Beliefs and practices of Islam. The founder and prophet of Islam is Muhammad. Followers of Islam are Muslims. Christianity is to Christian as Islam is to Muslim. Muslim means person who has submitted to God. The holy text of Islam is the Quran and is accepted as the word of God. Islam is monotheistic, belief in one God. In the tradition of Judaism and Christianity, Muslims worship Allah, which is the Arab term for God. Muhammad is the final prophet of Allah, following the Jewish and Christian prophets, including Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. Muslims believe in Satan, in heaven and hell, and in sin. Muslims do not eat pork.
So deviled ham must be twice as bad for Muslims.
Possible proof
That the devil exists. Chocolate kills dogs.
eating sugar.
Causes diabetes.
If you hug a polar bear,
He will eat you.
the central teachings of Islam are the 5 pillars. The first pillar of faith is Shahada, or profession of faith in Allah. There is no Allah but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. Second, Salat, praying 5 times a day, facing the holy city of Mecca. Third, Zakat, or almsgiving, giving to charity and taking care of the less fortunate and the powerless. Fourth, Psalm, or fasting. Muslims fast from sunup to sundown during the holy month of Ramadan. Finally, Hajj. Muslims are required, if they're able, to make a holy pilgrimage, a trip, to the holy city of Mecca. So it seems wrong for something called fasting to take so long. So on the Hajj, Muslims go to one place and pick up stones, and then they go to another place called Satan's Gate. It's 3 walls, and they throw rocks at Satan's Gate, symbolically stoning Satan. So on the Hajj, everyone wears a harab, a type of clothing. On the Hajj, I stoned Satan in my harab. How Satan got in my harab, I'll never know. Sharia code. Sharia translates as the path to a watering hole. Sharia is a guide of behavior that will lead to a more spiritually fulfilling life. They are applications of Quranic teachings to people's daily lives and to legal matters. Sharia guidelines come first from the direct examples in the Quran, the Islamic holy text. Then, principles derived from the Quran. Next, they consult the hadiths, sayings attributed to Muhammad by friends or relatives of Muhammad. Since Muhammad was both a religious prophet and a political leader, there is not a separation of religious tradition and political institutions that is more common in the dominantly Christian countries. Muhammad's empire was a theocracy, the combination of religious and political leadership. Theocracy has been the norm for much of the Islamic world. Every legal system is an application of the moral and cultural traditions for that society. Sharia is the same. The core interests of Sharia are life, religion, reason, wealth, family, and honor. Among the actions Sharia forbids are drinking of alcohol and use of drugs, because that gets in the way of reason, adultery, because that gets in the way of family unity, and false accusations of sexual immorality, because that interferes with a person's honor. The way that Americans are divided on the code of law for the United States, the Constitution, there is a lack of unity concerning Sharia. Sharia means different things to different people. Non-Muslims often judge Sharia based on the legal codes of fundamentalist countries that apply extreme beliefs to their legal codes, like Saudi Arabia and Iran, or the Taliban of Afghanistan. Fundamentalists apply the religion with the goal of returning their society to a past, often fictional past, when the religious community was more purely devoted to the true teachings of the religion. Judging Islam based on fundamentalist Sharia would be like judging Christianity based on Oliver Cromwell's massacres of Irish Catholics, Puritan witch burnings, or Puritan stonings of adulterous women, or the Ku Klux Klan burning of crosses on the lawns of black people, or lynchings in the name of God's will. Islam actually granted considerable protection of people for the time period when it was created. Women were allowed to own property and inherit wealth. It said people should only be convicted of a crime if there was evidence proving them guilty. From a Western perspective, we oftentimes look at Sharia and think that they are limiting the rights of women. Islam limited men to 4 wives. In Arabia and much of the world, it was common for men to have many wives, so this was a limitation. Clothing for both men and women should be modest. Women must walk behind the men. Women must be accompanied by a male relative escort when in the company of non-family men. Fundamentalist Sharia requires women to wear a burqa, a loose-fitting gown, and a hijab, a head covering, and a veil over the face. Some fundamentalist societies ban women from getting an education. Islamic fundamentalist societies often employ harsh punishments as part of Sharia. Public stoning and amputation of hands as punishment, very Hammurabi's code-like. These extreme applications are not the norm for Muslims in non-Muslim societies, and not even in Islamic societies outside of the fundamentalist countries. Sharia is not coming for Western law traditions. Well, that's it for the show. A red X. A red X!
It's a history show.
If you enjoyed this video, remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and hey, I could use some help. If you have some good ideas on how I can die at the end of my videos, leave it in the comments below.